Welcome to Intentional by Shay, the space where small creators grow with purpose, not pressure. I'm your host, Shay, creator, strategist, and your slightly sleep-deprived but fully caffeinated bestie on this wild ride of mindful marketing and real growth. Around here, we ditch the hustle myths, stop chasing every trend, and build brands that feel like us again. Because this isn't about algorithms or overnight success. It's about authentic connection, calm strategy, and growing your influence with intention and soul. So take a breath, grab your favorite drink, and get comfy. This is Intentional by Shay, where growth finally feels good again. Let's get into it. Welcome back to Intentional by Shay. I'm so glad you're here today, guys, because today we got a good topic to go over. Because let's be real, we are all looking for a way to reset ourselves from the busy hustle and bustle of this creator life. So let's talk about it. Because I know I'm not the only one who has stared at my phone, thumb hovering over post, and wondering why my brain suddenly feels like 27 open tabs and zero Wi-Fi connection. We love creating. We love the community, the storytelling, the idea of this whole content thing. But lately, it's beginning to feel like survival mode. And the wild part about it is that you can't even pinpoint when it happened. 1 minute we're excited, scheduling out our posts for the week. We're thriving on iced coffee and Canva templates. And then the next, we're quietly questioning if we even like it anymore. If you've been here since episode 5, the one where we talked about scaling mindfully, this season is about building without burning out. But this episode is a little more personal because the creator reset isn't just a strategy. It's the moment you realize you've been running too hard that you forget why you started. I've been there. Deep in the trenches, the overthinking, the burnout, and mind you, I burnt out within 2 months, okay? And the I'll rest when it's done. This phase never ends. So today, we're hitting that pause button. We're getting honest about the chaos, the creative fatigue, and the quiet guilt that creeps in when rest feels like failure. And we're going to rebuild slowly, intentionally, from the ground up, because you don't need another content plan right now. You need a reset. You ready? Let us breathe, reset, and get into why creativity shouldn't feel like survival mode anymore. Now, you know what's wild? We romanticize the grind. We look at this as some badge of honor. Basically, we are accepting that exhaustion is a rite of passage. And I used to wear mine proudly. Oh, I'm so exhausted because I'm building something. No, girl, I was exhausted because I was running on fumes and calling it passion. There's a difference between working with momentum and surviving off adrenaline. Momentum feels like flow. It's sustainable, it's flexible, and responsive. Now, adrenaline, it's loud, chaotic, it burns fast, and leaves you empty. And when you're a small creator, nobody tells you that half of your exhaustion isn't from creating. It's from performing the version of yourself you think you need to be online. You start chasing engagement instead of alignment. You start tracking numbers instead of joy. You start posting out of fear instead of conviction. That's when creativity turns into survival mode. And survival mode is not sustainable. You ever notice how nobody tells you that chasing your dreams will also sometimes feel like chasing your peace away? One day you're excited, full of ideas, posting that content that feels alive. Then the next, you're sitting on your couch in yesterday's hoodie wondering why a 30-second reel suddenly feels like emotional cardio. I used to think that feeling meant I was slacking. But what I've learned, and maybe what you're learning too, is that burnout isn't laziness. It's grief. It's the ache of loving something that started loving you back in conditional ways. We start creating from joy, but somewhere along the line, joy gets replaced with obligation. The algorithm becomes the boss, the numbers become the grade, and we, the ones who built all of this with heart, quietly become the employee of our own dream. Crazy, right? You remember the early stages, right? When posting a carousel felt like sending a message in a bottle to people who might just get it. You didn't care about reach or retention. You cared about resonance. You wrote captions like journal entries and actually felt what you were saying. But then came the tips, the hacks, the post daily or disappear culture. You start waking up not asking, what do I want to share? But what will perform best? And every time you chase performance, your creativity loses its little oxygen. So I want you to take a break for a moment. And I want you to ask yourself, when was the last time I created without checking analytics afterwards? If you have to think hard about that, you're not alone, because I'm still struggling with that today. Because let's be real, burnout for small creators doesn't come from creating too much. It comes from creating without alignment. You're pouring out energy with no rhythm or refill. You're showing up everywhere, but nowhere feels like home. I remember the moment I realized I was fully in survival mode. I was at the end of the week. I was finishing up creating all of my posts. I was trying to get all 5 posts posted by the end of the day. And mind you, by the time the end of the day hit, I was still trying to finish getting my last couple posts up. My phone was about to die, and my joy at that point was loading. And when I looked back at the clock, once again, it's after midnight. And I couldn't even remember what I made that day because I'm so exhausted. And the scary part of survival mode is that you're just busy, but you're not connected to what it is that you're doing. You're visible, but not fulfilled. It's like creative autopilot. Content goes out, applause come in, and yet you still feel behind and empty. When creativity starts to feel like survival, 3 things usually show up first. 1, you start negotiating with rest. You tell yourself, I'll take a break after this lunch. But then another project always shows up. 2, you start confusing productivity with purpose. If you're not posting, you feel guilty. And if you are posting, you feel empty. And 3, you start losing your voice under everyone else's volume. You scroll before you create, and your originality quietly gets edited out. It's not that you've lost your creativity, it's that it's buried under pressure. And listen, I know pressure gets romanticized. People love to say, diamonds are made under pressure. Cool, but so are anxiety attacks. Creators are not factories, we're feelers with Wi Fi. What makes this tricky is that survival mode can disguise itself as success. The likes are there, the comments are there, but behind the metrics, you're just tired. You tell yourself you should be grateful, and you are, but gratitude doesn't cancel exhaustion. And you know that point when you open your notes app to brainstorm and suddenly forget what you actually enjoy? That's not forgetfulness. That's fatigue talking. You've over edited yourself so many times that your brain now asks, will this do well? Before it even asks, do I even like this? That moment is your first red flag. Because once your work becomes a guessing game about what they want instead of a reflection of what you believe, you start writing from fear instead of honesty. And fear can't tell good stories, it only tells safe ones. I remember when I caught myself doing the exact same thing. I'd write a caption and delete it 3 times before posting because it didn't sound optimized enough. The problem wasn't the caption. It was that I'd start believing and started to equate being strategic with being sterile. Let me tell you something. You can't strategy your way out of self neglect. Every system, schedule, or social plan falls apart if the person running it is running on fumes. If you're nodding right now, you probably need to reset more than another tool. So let's name what survival mode actually looks like in creator life. You start working harder the moment things slow down instead of asking why they slowed down. You're constantly consuming other people's content for inspiration, but it secretly makes you feel behind. You tell people you're taking a break, but your brain is still outlining the next post in the shower. Sound familiar? This is me, almost on a daily still. Because survival mode trains us to believe that slowing down is dangerous. It tells us, if I stop posting right now, people will forget me. But here's the truth. Nobody forgets authenticity. They forget the noise. People don't follow you for constant motion. They follow you for consistent meaning. And meaning takes space to breathe. When I finally realized that, I stopped chasing momentum and started chasing peace. Okay? I started chasing my peace. That didn't mean I quit creating. It meant I redefined what creating looked like for me. Some weeks, it's writing full scripts. Other weeks, it's just journaling ideas or recording a voice memo at 2 a.m. because something hit me. The flexibility, that permission is what saved my creativity. So if you're sitting here tonight feeling tapped out, this is your reminder. You don't need to earn your rest. You need to protect it. Because creativity doesn't bloom in chaos. It blooms in calm. And calm isn't found, it's built. We'll talk about how to build it in a minute. But first, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not lazy for needing a break. You are not falling behind for choosing to pause. You are not less ambitious because you want balance. You are a human who turned your imagination into a livelihood. And that's sacred work. It deserves rhythm, not rush. So, before we head into the next section, I want you to take a deep breath with me. Unclench your jaw, relax your shoulders, and whisper to yourself, my creativity is allowed to rest. Let's get into the next section where we talk about the pause before the reset and how to stop sprinting long enough to hear your own ideas again. You know when your laptop starts overheating and the fan sounds like a jet engine? That's usually your cue to shut down a few tabs, right? Well, creators are no different. The only problem is that when we overheat, we don't hear a fan. We hear our inner critic saying, you can't stop now. We have to keep going. We're almost there. So what do? We keep pushing. We post through exhaustion, brainstorm through brain fog, and convince ourselves that consistency means never resting. But here's the plot twist. Pause is part of consistency. Somewhere between rise and grind and content every day, we started believing that visibility equals value. But the truth? Visibility without vitality is burnout with good lighting. Pausing doesn't mean disappearing. It means choosing depth over noise, taking time to refill so that what you share next actually matters. Think about your favorite creators for a second. They're not the ones posting every 20 minutes. They're the ones who make you feel something every time they show up. That presence only comes from space, the kind you can't schedule in a planner. Let's be real. Rest guilt is a thing. You take one weekend off and suddenly you're doom scrolling other people's productive Sunday routines. You start to narrate your rest in apology. I'll be back soon, just recharging, new content dropping Monday. Sis, nobody asks for a permission slip. You don't owe an out of office notice for taking care of yourself. What you owe yourself is silence long enough to hear your own thoughts again. You can't reset what you refuse to rest. So when guilt starts whispering in your ear, you're falling behind. Please respond with, behind what? A timeline that wasn't made for me? That's not rebellion. That's taking responsibility to your peace, your art, and to your future self. When you finally stop sprinting, the first thing you'll notice is the noise. All the content ideas, trends, and to-dos echo louder at first because stillness magnifies what you've been ignoring. That's normal. Let it settle. Then start listening for the small things. The idea that still excites you even after a week offline. The sentence you can't stop thinking about. The story that still feels tender but true. Those are clues. That's your creative compass recalibrating. Here's the secret nobody preaches on marketing talk. Rest is one of the most underrated growth strategies out there. When you rest, you stop reacting and start noticing patterns. You realize which posts actually convert versus which ones just perform. You notice that your best ideas come after your longest naps. You begin to separate being productive from being purposeful. That's the moment your reset really begins. When you see that slowing down doesn't stall growth, it sustains it. So try this mini reset habit. 1, I want you to pick one day a week to unplug completely. 2, write down every should thought that comes up that day. And 3, at night, cross out anything that doesn't serve your peace or purpose. You'll be shocked how much creative energy returns the next morning. I want you to remember something. Algorithms reward rhythm, and rhythm includes rest. When you pause intentionally, you teach your audience and yourself that value doesn't vanish with silence. You model sustainability. You model humanity. And that's what makes your brand magnetic. So here's your gentle homework for tonight. After this episode, close your laptop. Step outside. Go get some fresh air and breathe. No productivity hacks. No 5-step routines. Just you and a minute of quiet. And I want you to ask yourself, if I stripped away the pressure, what would I want to create next? Whatever answer comes, write it down. That's your reset talking. All right, so we've named the chaos and learned to pause. Now it's time to rebuild slow, steady, and smart. Because the reset only matters if you rebuild in a way that keeps you from burning out again. And that starts with one question. What if your systems actually felt like you? Consistency isn't posting every day. It's showing up in a rhythm you can sustain. There's a difference between discipline and depletion. Discipline moves with you. Depletion drags you. So instead of trying to copy someone else's schedule, build a routine that fits your real life. If Mondays are chaotic, make them your planning day, not your posting day. If you record best in silence, schedule recording days when the house is quiet. If you're inspired at midnight, batch your captions then. Consistency built around your natural rhythms lasts longer than any algorithm trend. A good system can only work if it simplifies, not suffocates. A good system should remove friction, reduce decision fatigue, and protect your creative energy. So here's how. Create content pillars around what you love to teach or share. 3 is plenty. Use templates that free your mind, not trap your creativity, and automate the small stuff. Captions, upload schedules, newsletter reminders. Your system is here to support your flow, not replace it. Now let's talk about boundaries, because no system works without them. Boundaries are not walls, they're filters. They decide what gets your energy and what doesn't. Set them up like this. Time boundaries. Decide your off hours. And when I mean off, I literally mean off. And keep them sacred. Your creative boundaries. Say no to content that doesn't align with your values, and please stick with that no and don't feel guilty about it. Your emotional boundaries. Don't let every comment decide your worth. Comments are just opinions, and everyone's entitled to one. But that doesn't mean their opinion of you decides who you are. Okay? Keep that in mind. You'll be shocked how much brain space opens up when you stop letting everyone have access to your focus. Now, we love to schedule our time, but we forget to schedule our energy. So ask yourself each week, what version of me has the most energy right now? If you're in creative season, batch your visuals, write, and record. If you're in a reflective season, journal, ideate, and learn. If you're in a rest season, delegate or automate. Building around energy keeps your content alive instead of forced. Your new system should aim for sustainability, not virality. Virality can't be replicated, but sustainability can. So instead of chasing numbers, set feel goals. How do you want creating to feel each week? What energy do you want your audience to experience from you? When you design from feeling, you automatically design for longevity. So I want you to grab your journal, your notebook, or open your notes app, and I want you to answer these 3 prompts. 1. What tasks drain me but don't actually move my brand forward? 2. What tasks light me up but I rarely make time for? That one right there. And 3, how can I design a system that gives me more of number 2 and less of number 1? That's your rebuild blueprint. The goal isn't to have perfect systems. It's to have living ones that evolve with you, grow with you, and leave room for rest. Because an intentional system is freedom disguised as structure. So, if you've been stuck in the loop of, I'll get organized soon, take this episode as your sign to start now, but start soft. One boundary, one automation, one day where you stop multitasking. That's it. You don't need a massive overhaul. You need a mindful rebuild. And once you feel that peace starting to come back, protect it, because that's where we're headed next. So I want you to take this time to think about the peace you've worked for, the hard work that you put in just to find a moment to gather yourself, collect yourself, and to feel good within yourself and the content that you're creating. And you have peace with that, right? Now, once you find calm, what happens? People will test it, intentionally or not. You'll get quick collab DMs, last minute favors, or your own brain whispering, maybe I should just check notifications real quick. No, ma'am. Guard your quiet like it's creative currency. Because it is. Schedule silence the same way you schedule uploads. Put nothing on your calendar and treat it like an appointment with your sanity. Quiet isn't laziness. It's leadership. It's how you stay connected to your own ideas instead of drowning in everyone else's. Saying no isn't negative. It's navigation. Every yes takes energy. So if you say yes to everything, you'll end up saying no to yourself. So practice soft no's. For example, I love that idea, but it doesn't fit my focus right now. This season, I'm protecting my energy. The right people will respect it. The wrong ones will reveal themselves. Peace and pressure cannot coexist together in the same dashboard. Please understand that you cannot have peace and pressure work hand in hand together. It doesn't work that way. For example, when it comes to your analytics, don't live in them. Don't make them an integral part of your everyday life. Just check them. Check them and get rid of it. And leave it alone. And put it to the side. And don't worry about it. Because your analytics don't make you who you are. You do. So here's the new rule. Use numbers as information, not validation. Metrics are mirrors, not verdicts. And ask better questions. What post felt the most like me? What piece of content built the most trust? Those answers matter more than reach. You know those tiny things that make the day feel lighter? The first sip of coffee before the scroll, the playlist you play while editing, the candle you light before recording? Those aren't just luxuries. They're habits. They're systems. These joyful habits train your nervous system to associate creation with calm, not chaos. Never skip the small things that matter because they keep your art alive. And the final layer of peace protection? People. Surround yourself with creators who remind you that growth is not a race, it's a rhythm. Celebrate their wins out loud, share ideas without fear, and ask for help before you hit burnout. Peace multiplies in community. So I want you to take 1 minute and ask yourself, what boundaries do I need to strengthen to protect my peace? And what habits can I create that will bring me back to myself? Write them down and let that be your peace plan. If you made it this far, you've already started your reset. You stopped long enough to listen, reflect, and rebuild. Now remember this, your creativity doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. Your brand doesn't need to be everywhere to make an impact. And your peace is not negotiable. It's the foundation of everything you create. So as you step back into your week, I want you to carry this with you. You can be intentional and ambitious. You can rest and rise. You can reset and still grow. Because that's the whole point of this journey. Finding balance in the chaos and making your creativity feel like home again. Thank you so much for tuning in today to Intentional by Shay, Episode 7, The Creator Reset. If today's episode hit home, share it with a fellow creator who needs a reminder that peace is productive. And if you haven't done so yet, make sure to join the Mindful Growth Letter at intentionalbyshay.com, our weekly note for creators who are building with heart and not hype. Until next time, take a breath, stay intentional, and remember, growth feels better when it's grounded. See you in the next episode.